Okay, so today I'm making this cute little flare fishnet tie front top, and it's super easy. Like, once you see how it's made, you're gonna be like, I could have been made these. But anyways, we're gonna start with some fishnet tights. And these are just regular fishnet tights that like you put on the bottom half of your body. They can be like any width for the squares. It really doesn't matter. I found that the ones with the smaller holes help though when you're attaching the trim, but it's whatever. Okay, so first we're measuring the flares here like we do a circle skirt. I like to do 1 inch for the inside circle, which is going to be the wrist, and then I like to do 6 inches for the outside for the flares. If you want to make the flares bigger, you'll just increase the length for your outside square. So I've done 7 inch, 8 inch. It's really just a personal preference. I really just prefer the 6 inch. But we're using our rotary cutters, or you can use scissors, whichever one you prefer. Okay, so we've got our fishnet tights turned upside down. The waistband of the tights is actually going to be the underboot portion of our top. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the middle of the waistband, and we're just going to snip through the middle of the waistband all the way up through the crotch of the nets. Like, there's one little portion, you can tell that's the middle of the crotch. It looks just a tad bit different. You're just going to snip that in half. After that, we are going to cut like the waistband at an angle so we can make our ties tie a little better in the front instead of it being straight up and down. I just find that cutting it at an angle just helps a little better. And we're also going to cut off the feet of the fishnets, and that's going to be the wrist portion of our top here. Okay, so now we're actually going to start trimming this top. If you want longer ties, of course, you're going to use a longer piece of trim, but I found that a 54-inch piece of trim works perfectly, and we're going to mark that at the halfway point. So that's going to be 25 and 2, so that's going to be 27. So at 27 inches, we're going to mark halfway with either a pin like I did, or you can use like a sewing marker or pencil if you wish. But after that, I like to go ahead and pin my trim first before I sew it for this top. So I'm going to start to pin the trim for the ties. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that attached to the actual net in the next step. You also want to make sure that you are pulling slightly on your net as you are trimming it, as you're trying to tuck it into your, as you're trying to tuck the net into the trim as well. Okay, so when you're attaching the trim, you want to make sure you catch the waistband in the trim when you're starting to pin. You also want to make sure that you are kind of tucking that net into the trim. That way the machine actually catches that net. Because sometimes people have a hard time with these. Once they get done, they see that a portion of the net is not actually inside of the trim. So it kind of helps if you tuck the net into the trim some as you're pinning it. That's another reason why I like to pin these before I sew instead of using like a binding attachment or trying to attach it as I'm sewing. So I do it before. And you also want to match the middle of the trim that you marked at 27 inches with the crotch of the fishnet. So you know that you have that in the middle and both sides of your trim are even. Okay, so for this step, we are just going to attach our trim with either a large zigzag or a cover stitch machine. Okay, so for this step, we're going to be attaching the flares. This can also work for the flares on the bottom of fishnet tights going on your legs. But we're going to remove our table from our regular sewing machine, and we're going to put the net onto the machine right side facing up towards the needle. And then we're going to take our fabric and place that over top of the net so we can attach those two, but we're going to have the wrong side facing up on the fabric. So we're going to use a large zigzag stitch, and make sure you always back stitch over wherever you started to go ahead and secure that thread there. But yeah, once you get done, you'll be able to see your flare. And like I said, you can do that on pants or on this top. You can use this method on regular fabric. It doesn't just have to be on this net, but I like to add flares to outfits, and this is a super easy way to do so. All right, and here's our finished product here. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I plan to do another one with a better angle. I was doing this just on a Saturday night, about to take this to the club, and it sold literally that night that I made it. So super quick and easy top. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.